What's up everyone? So I'm here to tell you about our chart, time management. So these videos are basically my way of going through the charts, kind of giving some of the ideas or compositional techniques that were used, but I'm trying to explain them in a way that's accessible for musicians and non-musicians alike, so I'm avoiding the theory mumbo jumbo and those big fancy words. Someone once told me that there's freedom in limitation, so if you told someone to write an essay about anything in the world, they wouldn't know what to write, but if you tell them, write an essay that has something to do with a tree, suddenly ideas just start bursting in your head. In the same way, I try to do that musically in the writing. So for the drummer and bass player, I give them a little bit of information that's just like a slight push. I say, I want you to go this way, and you're not allowed to do certain things. You're not allowed to play notes outside of B flat. But when they're limited by notes in B flat, and it has this already written out voice for them, and they have the freedom to change it within those rules, it seems like they find their own inspiration within that and they enjoy playing it. So the way this chart started is I found this rhythm that I was really into, this da-dun-dun-da-dun-dun-dun, and I wanted to play that the entire time. I also only wanted to play notes in B flat. So throughout this chart, there should never be a note outside of the key of B flat. So the chord changes are really there, but they don't really matter. The whole thing is we wrote a melody that's in B flat on the outside voices. I have the inside voices playing that rhythm on notes in B flat. And then per the melody, we just came up with that counterpoint thing in the middle. So if you take that chord rhythm and you multiply it where every eighth note becomes 4 quarter notes, you end up with the rhythm we have at B. I multiplied it so that the one measure would be turned into 8 measures, right? So every hit is that same rhythm, so technically we never stopped hearing the rhythm. Now the reason why this kind of thing is useful is simply because I'm a big believer that if you're using something earlier on and you do some sort of alteration to it, even if it's something that no one will ever pick up on and say like, oh, that rhythm is the same rhythm from the first but multiplied times 8. Yeah, no one's ever going to hear that. But for me, it has something that transcends us logically being able to recognize it, but we're still feeling it. That's why I think it feels so good there. Then we get to the solo stuff, which I don't like to use the word solo on this chart in particular because we wanted to intentionally avoid listening to each other in the sense of playing back what someone else played, or you played that rhythm, so I'm going to play it back. Like nothing like that. We really wanted to independently play our own rhythmic cells. So my left hand never stops the core rhythm. My right hand starts doing rhythmic cells of some sort. Now I actually wrote out a bunch of different possible rhythmic cells and I practiced them over that rhythm. That's kind of how I started. Here's a bit of that. You can get all that on our Patreon, by the way, and you can get our album, you can get other stuff there, get your name on the album. Join up, it's really cool, and if you like these videos, it would really mean a lot, because I'm getting kind of tired. So now we're in the solo section and we're talking about those rhythmic cells things, and I want to point out a couple things. Now keep in mind, the bass player and the drummer are also doing rhythmic cells at the exact same time I am throughout the whole thing, and we're just kind of developing, and as those rhythmic cells build in complexity, and again we're limited to B flat major, so they all pretty much sound pretty good, the flow of where the downbeat is starts kind of moving, but what holds it down, what keeps it connected to the beginning, is that left hand never stops playing that core rhythm. And that's a really cool way to just build, right? Because as you add more and more layers, the energy and tension increases as a band. Meanwhile, the drummer is doing the same thing. He's playing maybe 2 notes in a rest in one hand, 3 notes in a rest in one hand, or maybe he's treating it so that his right hand and his right leg are doing one cell. And so those are the kinds of things that we're trying to think of and approach it in that way where we're layering. Why? Because that's the same way we do in like Ableton and Logic, is that people take these different tracks and they take them and they loop them. So we're kind of applying that same idea musically. So the head out, I wanted to open things up a bit and make it sound a little bit different than the head in. So if I went back to the original in that same octave, it would have sounded a little dull. So by voicing it out, it brings up the intensity. And all those voicings are, again, they're just big triads in B flat major. Those voicings are written out as well on the chart, and that's at section C. Then for the repeat, again, I wanted to change up the texture. So thinking more orchestrally, I was like, what if we had the woodwinds sound like arpeggios on top? And we had like the brass, sort of a warm, fatter melody in the bottom. Oh, and then we go back to the shout chorus at the end, and we do like a legit drum solo because Jacob's killer, and we really want to show him off. So we do that. It's almost as if most jazz charts go like this for the solos, and then the head comes back, or go straight up. This one kind of went straight up, down, and up again, and then down, right? So changing those kinds of flows in your overall writing is a really good idea. It's a really simple chart as far as all it is notes in B flat and one core rhythm, and we just stick to that. Putting rules on your writing and your improvising can sometimes turn into finding a whole new way to approach it. This whole rhythmic cell thing and adding layers just makes sense. So it's worthwhile to try. See if you dig it. If you don't, that's okay. There's tons of other things. That's the whole deal. Not all music has to be melodic, right? It's endless. You can do it based on rhythm. You can do it based on dynamics. You can do improvising just with accents alone, right? What if you only did one note and just change up your accents and you do rhythmic things? That's what percussionists do all the time. Why can't we do that as pitch instruments? I really enjoy making these videos, but I do get tired, and once in a while some people reach out or they comment and they say like, hey, I really appreciate what you're doing, it means a lot. If you are one of those people who like these things, please let me know. It really means the world to hear back from you. I had a person from Portugal last week say like, hey man, I'm super stoked on your videos and they're really inspiring and they make me want to try writing music again. I'm like, great, thank you for saying so. There's another guy in the UK, same thing, right? Americans don't really say that because we're all pretentious fucks. Yeah, so and by the way, all these charts are going to be on the new album, which should be coming out in November. Be sure to check that out. You can follow on our Facebook, YouTube, all those things if you want to get it, or just go to our Patreon and you can sign up for that. This was one of those charts where I also felt like, is it really going to pan out as a legit chart? And I was dealing with that insecurity of, is it hard enough, or are there enough hip changes, which there clearly are not. And it turns out to be one of our favorite charts. those insecurities that you have because you've been in school and you've been told that you should write a certain way or sound a certain way, just forget all of them. And there's people online that are going to be haters. I have plenty of haters now with these videos. Don't worry about it, right? Just keep writing whatever it is. Even if your ideas are really, really simple, you can turn them into something really, really cool. I really want to have a conversation with you. So if you absolutely hate these videos, I don't really want to have a conversation with you. But if you're into it and if you're inspired and maybe you're like, hey, I really dig this thing, can you tell me more? Please, please, please let me know. And I'll just send it all your way. It's good. I really like building relationships and art community, especially globally because we're on social media, so we can do that. Keeping your band members interested is a really, really, really important part of writing for a band. You gotta make sure they like it, right? Okay, I think I've said enough.